Welcome, everybody, to Hyperbaric Plus. We're starting a podcast series. And today, to lead this off, we're going to have Brad Dean kind of give us some of his background and his journey and wellness, what he's been able to accomplish with hyperbarics. And when Brad, he's a helicopter pilot. He flew Black Hawk and is still serving. And what's really cool is he said, "Hey, I'm going to bring my co-pilot in." So what a awesome place to have a co-pilot on a podcast. So Mr. Chase Rutledge, who a lot of you probably recognize from Channel 5, flying the helicopter for Channel 5 News here in Oklahoma City, KOCO. So anyway, I'm going to let Brad kind of give us a little background on him, and then we're going to drag Chase into this and let him go with
Thanks
it.
for the plug, by the
So
way.
Brad, tell people what they need to know about Brad Dean and why, how you found us and why you came in the very beginning.
Absolutely. Oh, there's so much.
So much.
There's so much.
So I don't know how much time we have, but no, just the basics. I've been in the military since 1995. So I joined when I was 18, the Oklahoma National Guard. Started flying helicopters when I graduated around 2000, and been in the Oklahoma Guard since then. Was in a helicopter crash May of 2018, and a massive traumatic brain injury, 9 broken ribs, fractured scapula, punctured lung, all the things. No big deal. And made it through that.
A mere scratch.
Yeah, made it through that physically. Mentally, of course, I was, traumatic brain injury was the biggest issue, I think. And so then I got selected to go to War College, which is a master's level program, and was really concerned about, keeping my thoughts together, being able to read a book, much less, write a paper for a master's program. At the time, I was part of a company called Scars and Stripes Coffee. It was a veteran company that helped veterans that actually come off of active duty reacquire, civilian skills, basically get pulled back into society because a lot of active duty members have a hard time coming back after they've been deployed, things like that. So one of my veterans in that program knew that I had a traumatic brain injury, and he had mentioned, he's like, "Hey, have you tried hyperbarics?" And I think my answer was like most. I'd had no idea what the heck it even was. I didn't know what hyperbarics was. I didn't know what it was used for. And so he actually introduced me to you up in drop us up in Edmond. So I walked in and said, "Hey, I need some hyperbaric therapy. I don't know what it is, but people, especially veterans, I think anybody that's suffering leads to seeking. And for me, I was at the point where I had tried everything. So, try this, try that, the Western medicine approach of whatever I could try, I was trying. And so I was all in. Let's give it a whirl. And did the 40 sessions, met you and your wife, Sharon, and just made me family. And it was amazing. And so had great results with a traumatic brain injury. And then we can go down the list. I mean, that was 5 years ago. So.
Well, when you left, you started doing something called NeurOptimal about halfway through your hyperbaric sessions. And you always told me that you thought you got as much out of NeurOptimal as you did the chamber, maybe even more so. So when you left to go to War College, you took one of those machines with you. And about 2 weeks after you got there, I'll never forget the call. You called back and said, "Man, I'm sending that machine back." And I said, "Is there something wrong?" And you said, "Paul, I'm kicking everyone's hiney. I'm doing really, I'm trying to keep this keep this in between the ditches." But he goes, "Man, I'm really doing well down here. I don't need that machine. Can't believe what hyperbarics did for me." And you first, when you came, you said, "Hey, I'm reading a sentence. And when I get to the end of the sentence, I forget what the first of the sentence was." That's how bad the short-term memory got.
Right.
And that's all indicative of those kinds of injuries. And we have the luxury here of seeing people transform. And Brad is a great example. I use him all the time. And you can imagine when he gets in here and tells it's an hour session in the chamber and nobody else talks.
Right.
There's an upcharge if you come when Brad's here because he's also a stand-up comedian. But anyway, that was phase one. And what happened after that was I'll let Brad kind of tell the story why you came back for the second half of this.
Absolutely. Yeah. So basically, I said I was kicking everybody's tiny, but anybody that knows Brad Neat knows I exaggerate a little bit. Just a tad, just a tad. Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. I've never been known for my educational smartness, but yeah, the NeurOptimal helped a lot, mostly because, it allows you, it forces you to sit down and to sit with the machine. And so that was great. That actually helped me calm voices, so to speak.
Well, a lot of problems with TBIs and PTSD is the anxiety level just goes out the roof.
Absolutely.
And what NeurOptimal, which is neurofeedback, and it's a nonlinear, meaning you don't have to have a degree in psychology to operate it. It's like taking your brain to the gym, and you're literally 33 minutes laying in a soft, easy chair with Zen music going in your ears, and the computer is giving you a program, and it absolutely brings your anxiety down and reconnects those neural paths that have lost their connection. I mean, that's what happened in that crash is your brain got scrambled up a little bit and those neural paths, my wife calls it defragging the hard drive because the more you can get those neural paths communicating, the faster the processing speed comes up. And that's a good analogy that I hear her use all the time. And
I call it the brain tickle.
yeah, the
'Cause
brain
I'm
tickle.
I'm a little more simple. But I got the chance to experience a little of that
Uh-huh.
here at Hyperbarics, and it was just one session. So,
People are afraid of falling asleep during that session, and it doesn't matter if you're awake or asleep because your brain is still operating, as you guys know. So anyway, pretty neat stuff. And after after you got back in the swing of things at your business and things are going good, and you called me out of the clear blue and said, "Hey, Paul, it worked for my brain."
Do you fix livers?
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. I'll let you take it from there.
The brain was
What
good.
else can
Yeah,
you
well, yeah.
fix?
You guys fix livers? I'll never. I remember that phone call actually because I had left my checkup and doc's like, "Hey, man, your creatinine levels off the charts. Your liver enzymes are off the charts." He's like, "We need to bring you back in, and you have chronic renal disease and all kinds of things." I was totally shocked, to be honest. Not totally shocked about the liver part, but the kidneys and stuff. I was, what the heck? And so he's like, "Yeah, we need to put you in for surgery. We're going to put stents in your kidneys, and we need to do a biopsy of your liver." And I'm like, "Oh my gosh, can I like drink some water or like take a pill or something?" He's like, "No, this can't be fixed. We need to do surgery." So I picked up the phone and I actually call Paul for all kinds of stuff now because there's got to be something. There's got to be a different way. It's kind of with the hyperbarics with the brain. I looked at all the different medications and things you got to get on, and they wouldn't work. And so I kind of actually now my whole thought process is instead of looking for a pill or a quick fix, hey, let's try hyperbarics out. So I called Paul and say, "Hey, livers." He's like, "Actually, yeah." He's like, "We've had a woman here that's been on the liver transplant list for like 5 years and is now off the transplant list." I'm like, "Well, I'm in." We hadn't talked. What's also funny about when people get better, and I found this in my own life, as things get better, I don't go back to do what got me better. I was like, "Yeah, you fixed me," and I just never came back. And he's like, "You don't know, but we've got this bit larger tank now. We've started the hyperbarics for heroes. We can set up to, for 12, 14 people in this tank and we can all get better. And it's out here in Luther." I'm like, "I'm on my way." So started diving again. We call them diving, started doing the sessions, setting in the tank and went back in for my pre-op blood work. And he come walking in. He said, "What have you been doing?" I was like, "Well, I've been doing hyperbarics." And he's like all surgeons, mostly I tell you like, "Okay, that's great. Whatever." Well, your numbers are perfect. Your liver enzymes dropped by about 200, 300 points. Creatinine levels all
good?
normal. That's good. That's real
Okay.
good. It's real good. Good. It's real good. And he's like, "Yeah, you're good to go." And I'm like, "All right." He said, "But I kidding you not, guys." He's like, "You still want to do the surgery?" I'm like, "What?" He's like, "Yeah." He's like, "Well," he's like, "You're already here and I got you scheduled." And I'm like, "No, no. How about no?" So anyway,
When Brad is in the chamber telling this story, there's chairs in there, and you bump your head if you get up on those chairs. He's up on those chairs telling this part of the story,
yeah.
talking about a boat payment or something. I don't know
No,
what
I said,
the.
"No."
Get excited.
No,
No.
no, not at
But
all.
what's neat though too is that, again, just the opportunity, just to, the openness, just to try something besides surgery or, and the reason I was excited about Chase being here, Chase, we've been together we've been flying together 20 plus years. So he's got to see all the phases that I've gone through. It's one thing. It's funny too, especially with a brain injury or PTSD or depression or anxiety or what us people that are going through it, we don't see it so much. Like, "Oh, I'm fine. It's not a big deal." But our friends and our loved ones and those that are with us every day, spouses, children, they see it. And and what's interesting now being on this side of it, this side of all those things and those issues, still struggle, but being on this side and being better. What's interesting is that you get to see, and in the tank, as these people come out of the sessions and do the hyperbarics, the family members pull me aside. They're like, man, when he skips a day, we need to get him back in here. So it's always the family members, because you ask the people that were in there, we're talking to, they're like, oh, not that big a deal. I don't really see that big of a change, but
How
they
many
leave with,
times do you hear somebody say that and everybody in the chamber says at the same time, "What are you talking about? You're a whole different person."
yeah.
I mean, that's what's fun.
And that's why I'm glad that Chase is here too, because he actually got to see all that stuff. He was part of my life all the way through that, through the good and the bad. So, and then so he had to come experience. So he sat through the chamber, did the NeurOptimal, did the neurofeedback, and so I just, you try to tell people this too. I feel like in Oklahoma, people will get this, like the kid coming back from Falls Creek. I'm like, man, you got to try this out. You got to do this. You got to do that, man. This is so exciting. And they're like, whatever, until you actually get to experience it. And so that's the biggest part about this. Back for me and being day one, Paul, I didn't know it existed. Didn't know what it was.
Right. I hear the word hyperbolic all the time. People go, I heard you got a hyperbolic chamber. And I'm like, no, not quite. I haven't even looked that up to see what it is. But no, the hyperbaric chambers is something that's not understood. And then when you say hyperbarics, everyone talks about oxygen,
Mm-hmm.
which is
That's
on
what
your
comes up when you Google it.
TBI.
Yeah.
That's what we did, was hyperbaric oxygen. But man, we found another path where, one, we're using hyperbaric air. So we eliminate the oxygen, we eliminate the medical. Medical's not required. You don't have to get a prescription because we're not doing supplemental oxygen. Whereas if you're doing hyperbaric oxygen therapy, you have to have a doctor's oversight. You got to have a prescription, and then you have to have oversight as you go forward. So when we started with this, and it was out at my house, and when Brad came, he came for those 30 days. Well, he met all the other police officers and veterans that were diving with me at that point. And man, you talk about a great class of people that came together out there in that setting where everybody was, camaraderie was off the charts. A lot of the people that were diving with us at that point hadn't left their house much
All right.
for a long time. They pretty much were recluse, and they all got to forming a friendship that their families were all going together at different heroes' houses, and that was significant to me when I saw that can happen. That's when I really wanted to try to get Hyperbarics for Heroes going, because it changed all their work.
Yeah, you definitely did.
So, Chase, what do you see in your people that you've hung around for a long time? Do you see people that are struggling? I mean, I'm just wondering what the population's like. I got to think, when you understand a little about it, when you saw Brad go through his deal, you see these people all the time, and how do we get them in here? How do we tell them?
Well,
what's
and
going
that's the thing, that when Brad first told me about it, just like when he first heard about it, there was some skepticism involved. Is it witchcraft? Is it magic? What is it? And I think what it takes is just kind of putting that aside for a second, getting in here, trying it, try a session, especially if you're a veteran, give it a try. If you're dealing with some stuff, post-traumatic stress, if you're dealing with a lot of that, if you're dealing with some health issues, I heard somebody said that it helped with the ringing in your ears. Well, I've got ringing in my ears. Didn't help with it, but I only did one session, so
I never tell anybody that it helps with tinnitus,
Tinnitus.
however you say that.
Yeah.
So, because
but
I suffer from it.
yeah, but I know Brad, and I know he does exaggerate about some stuff, but when it comes to his health, when it comes to these issues, he's not going to exaggerate about it, and he hasn't. And the change is what you visually can experience. What I'm able to see with Brad, and what I'm able to hear in just the way he talks about it, and the way he talks about not just hyperbarics, but the way it's kind of changed his attitudes, and it's changed his emotions, and it's changed his stress levels. Those are the things that I've been able to see. He's done some. There's another podcast to talk about all the other stuff that Brad's gone through, but what I've seen as far as hyperbarics goes is it can make a difference, especially for those veterans out there that can use it, and that's what I really want to focus on.
So while you're on that, one thing I want to make everybody aware of: if it doesn't have to be a veteran that's in trouble, Doesn't have to be a veteran that's in trouble. What I want to know is I want to reach out to all veterans. I want them to come and experience this once on me. I want them to know what the whole experience is about, because how could you ever talk about it until you got in the chamber, Chase?
Right.
It's hard to describe. So I want veterans to come, because once they've experienced it and they run into that person that's in trouble, they can be one-on-one. They can be an expert at that point, telling them what hyperbarics is about and what the process is. And I want all veterans, if you don't have a problem, great. That's awesome. You're not having to deal with that. But if you want to help your battle buddy, come and see what this is about. So the next time you have that conversation, you can speak with a little experience and get them in here.
Yeah, it took me, I mean, I don't know how many times you asked me before I finally came in and took you up on it, but it was a while.
Yeah, it was.
I don't know, not months, probably a couple of years. But I finally did it, and I'm glad I did.
The next thing about it is a lot of people think it's a one and done. They'll get out of the chamber. And although a lot of my veterans, they come out of the chamber and they go, this is what happened to me while I was in there. Everything, their stress level, everything came down. And that's, that's what they're saying, when they come out of the chamber. So, lost my train of thought.
Yeah, well,
I'm sitting there watching,
but there's so
watching
there's so
Chase.
much more. You got to understand that too. It's not.
Well, it's not a one and done. That's where I was headed. It's a series.
But anybody else, and I think in this day and age, man, I want Amazon now. I don't want Amazon Prime. I don't want to wait 2 days for the ink pen that I just ordered. I want it to show up now. And I think
Where's that drone?
we've already, I think we're being used and groomed to have that instant gratification, that instant fix. And so anybody that says, now with all the stuff out there with the Ozempic and stuff, I can lose weight and take a shot. But the whole point is honestly that for us, you're going to get so much more. This is Brad Dean talking. This is for me. I get so much more from the camaraderie and just meeting the people. And it's kind of different. You get a veteran together or a first responder together, and they start, oh, you served them. They connect like that because you automatically, I don't know what it is. I've been in a long time, but I've seen that connection. Oh my God, you were so and so, and it doesn't matter if you're Air Force, Navy, Marine, whatever, but that connection is so strong. And that just, oh my God, somebody gets me. Because what happens is, and I have a lot of respect, and I always tell the family members and friends of veterans, man, thank you. Because, you get back and you'll hear them say, they just don't get it. My ex-wife just don't get it. My kids just don't get it. My mom and dad, my high school friends, that were my best friends, just don't understand. But hey, you serve too. For whatever reason, we connect. You meet it because you have you don't understand. Well, try me. Try me. You don't understand. Let's have that talk. And so that you finally feel like you go from, because a veteran being a veteran and being involved in all the different organizations I have, you're sitting in a room full of people, but you feel alone. They just don't get me. They just don't get me, and so the friends that I found that I, even the hardest times I went through in my life, they're among family members, but some of my closest and best friends were military. They were military that could, hey, call them up and they'd show up. And why do I go down that route? Because I want to tell veterans out there and first responders, especially that, when you come to this session, and it's funny, we automatically make a assumption in our mind or a judgment. Oh, I heard tank. Well, there is no water. First of all, you're not diving, right? But I thought, well, hyperbaric diving. Well, I can't do that. I can't swim. I can't. You start checking all these things off. The reason I'm going on a little bit of your rant here is to understand that, hey, just be open, show up. We've tried everything else. I tried meeting you at the bar. I tried doing all the other different things to get the voices to stop talking, to get the things to quit, to complain or whatever. Met you at the coffee shop. My point is, why don't you just show up here and meet up and just try it?
So you brought up a deal that I need to get a cuss jar. So every time you say dive, you have to put $1 in,
Right.
because I've really misled a lot of people, and I got to stop doing that. So when we say dive, we're getting in a chamber that looks like a submarine, and it's pressurized air. So we're just pressurizing that chamber to replicate what it's like at 52 feet of water. And we just recently started, because of some clients that are dealing with Lyme and
Right.
pathogens and cancer. And we have some very exciting things going on when we go to 100 foot.
Yeah. Right.
Right.
Yeah.
So Brad is always, hey, if 50 is good, 100 is better. It's got to be twice as good.
Yeah.
Right.
Great for
Take
work.
me to
Yeah,
two.
yeah.
Pretty worse for everything
Yeah.
else.
So anyway, you come in, you kick your shoes off, you got socks on, if you got a plastic water bottle, We let water go into the chamber. You get in the chamber and you're with what I want my veterans to do is come at 4 o'clock Monday through Friday. That's
1600.
veterans only. There's no other people in there. There's no rules per se, but I mean, it's not like you're with a bunch of non-military people. It's all your group, and man, people have such a good time when they
Oh
get
yeah.
in there. I encourage you, if you can bring a friend. If you know somebody that's in trouble, just say, "Hey, we're going to the chamber. Give me a call and let's get both of you in the chamber because you can help each other while you're in there." I mean,
Well, and I think, and a lot of people when they look at, because I'm looking at a picture of it right now that's over here. But when I first pictured it, I thought, well, I'm in there by myself. I'm laying on a bed. It's a real tiny chamber. I'm claustrophobic. But I mean, how many can you put in there?
well, when Heritage football team got in there were 16,
So
but it's got 12 seats and we easily fit 14, and you can be creative. And yet I never saw a football team love on each other like they did.
Yeah.
I mean, they got crammed in there so tight,
yeah,
and they dove several times in one state that year that they came diving all the time.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, I don't know why I can't get athletic programs to work with us because it's pretty crazy. The guy that dove, Terrell,
Yes. Yeah.
the
Yeah.
guy that
Right.
dove
Broke some
every week
records, did he not?
he broke 5 school
Yeah.
records, and he had the most receiving yardage of every college football player in the country. He had the highest number of receiving yards,
wow.
and he dove every week.
Yeah.
His mama made him.
Yeah.
She's a nut. She's crazy, and she made him get in here once a week
Yeah.
to keep his health up.
And
So
one thing that I came away with on that one time that I came in and dove was what Brad was talking about, and I just wanted to touch on that a little bit because it's kind of like you're having therapy while you're getting therapy.
oh, absolutely.
Because we were in there, we probably had 8, I think, people in the tank with us, and every single one of them had a story. This is why I'm in this tank. This is why I'm doing this. I think what one of them was in there because he just really liked being in there with other people. It was a quiet place, and it was therapy while he
With
was
his
getting
own.
therapy. Yeah, and it was a great experience, and that's why I mean I'd like to keep coming back just for that.
Well, Brad, at as he was ending his second tour
Yeah.
in the hyperbaric chamber, uh, I said, "Man, you'd be perfect to be on our board. We're going to put together a board, and you'd be a perfect guy." And I'm giving you an invitation. And he said, "You know what, Paul? I want to be part of this. I'll never forget you saying this. I want to be part of this because when I dive with all these different people, I get to see their journey. And there's people in here with amputated toes or trying to keep them from being amputated, but non-healing wounds from concussions, from I mean, just a plethora of things. And to watch their recovery is amazing. And that's what Brad said. He goes, I want to be part of this because I want to watch these recoveries. They're awesome.
But it won't grow toes back, right? Is that
Yeah. I want
we
to make
can't-
sure.
No, it'll blow. Black toes will re-tissue.
Yeah.
They'll
They don't cut
repopulate.
them off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're talking about, and you know what's really crazy, since we're talking about that, and there may be some veterans listening, uh, diabetic foot wounds, they call them DFUs, diabetic foot ulcers. The VA does not even educate the veterans that there is such a thing as hyperbarics. Hyperbarics is what you do if you have a non-healing diabetic foot wound. That is the standard of care. And the VA is not even sharing that with our veterans because it's simpler to amputate. And 72% of our veterans that have an amputation below the ankle are 72% of them are dead within 3 years of their first amputation.
Oh my god.
So if you think about an amputation, what they've done is they've clipped that toe that's not, that's necrosis has set in, it's gangrenous. They got to get it off. Well, they never address the underlying issue, which is osteomyelitis, which is bone infection. So if you don't heal the bone infection, you're just going to come back a short period of time later for the next toe and the next toe. And then, I mean, they're not fixing the problem. And our veteran community doesn't know anything about hyperbarics. They don't have one of these at the VA. And so
And that's one thing that you do whenever somebody comes is like if you have a lot of questions, they educate you right from the beginning. They tell you exactly what's going to happen. They tell you how it's going to feel whenever they start you know, adding pressure, depressurizing, or and so you'll get that education. So there's no questions about what you're going to go through when you go through it. It's not painful at all.
When you guys are going up and down in the helicopter, you feel a little pressure on your ears sometimes. And that's really the only thing that we can hurt you is if you don't keep your ears equalized, well, then you could have a eardrum rupture. But like when you're landing in an airplane, you know how to clear your ears, the Valsalva or chewing gum. A lot of people say chew gum, but just keeping your ears clear. The beauty of this is unlike an airplane pilot, I can actually go back up.
Yeah, got the
Yeah.
And
tools.
so then we can take the pressure off your ears, you can get equalized, and then we'll continue. So there's no reason you should not be able to do a dive.
What I'd like to, and I want Chase, and Chase hit on a good point. He said it took so long for him to get in here, right? Even if you hear all the great things, in the military too, we call it can't and won't. So a lot of times we'll be hearing things, and probably because we don't want to get better. I can't do that, or I can't do this, or I won't do that. So I'm glad Chase brought that up because a lot of times, yeah, it takes a lot. Even from your family members, it took a lot from my ex-wife complaining, or my children, or my family, right? Because you just don't see it, or you don't want to see it. And so if I could get out one message today, and I'm glad Chase is here too, only because you might hear something to do something, give it a try. Show me, don't tell me. You say you want to get better, but you haven't done anything to do it. One of these days I'm gonna. Well, your actions are so loud that I can't hear a word you're saying. You're just talking about it. So my point, I'm so glad Chase is here because he heard me talking about it. But until you try, come try it. And they say that's not for me, or I don't want whatever. But you can't do that. Don't do that to me until you at least try it. So what I enjoy volunteering here and seeing those things are people starting to get better. And so I like to be here when they walk in, like I don't think it's for me, or I don't think it's going to work. Man, try it. You've tried everything else. And if you keep doing the same things, you're going to keep getting the same answers. Try some different things. And so back to the reason Chase is here, because I wanted him here as my co-pilot, as a person who's literally, we have sat closer in the helicopter than this for hours and hours and hours and hours. And so that a true battle buddy. So veterans, if you're out there listening, and also with the first responders as well, who go through more stuff than a lot of veterans see. I mean, these guys coming up on car crashes and things that I can't imagine seeing, and dealing with that kind of stuff. Man, why not? Why not give it a try? So I hand it over to Chase again because I want him to talk about a little bit what you've seen, your thoughts. If you get a message out to those people that may need some help, from your point of view, you got to see what I went through. Is there a message that you would send out? I'm just honestly, I've never asked you this. I'm just kind of curious.
Okay. Well, I mean, I think when it comes to hyperbarics, it's not gonna make you worse,
Yeah.
you know? And so why not try it? I know just from the first visit that, the brain tickle that I talked about, that was awesome. And I came out of that session. I didn't even do a whole session. I think I just did 30 minutes because we were about to get in the chamber, not do a dive. But just that one half session of
Neuroptimal.
the NeurOptimal, the brain tickle. I mean, I came out of that room on a completely different plane. I was very calm. I was very, any stress that I might have had, it went away. And that was just one session, one partial session. And then we got in the tank, and that was a great experience, not just because of how I felt when I left the tank physically, but how I felt emotionally, how I felt a connection to all of those people that I did not know. You were the only one that I knew in the tank. And then coming out of there, everybody had, like I said, everybody had their story why they were in the tank, why they came to even try it. And the majority of them did the same thing. They came and tried it one time and then knew that it was for them and they had to come back. And they've just been doing it over and over and over again because it makes a difference. And they all had a symptom when they started, and then they all had a story about how it changed their physical self, their physical health.
It's amazing how many people come in for and they'll start diving. And, 40 dives is, especially our veteran program, it's a 40 dive. That's what you do because a lot of things are going to happen in those 40 sessions. Around 20 to 25 sessions, you've fixed a lot of the things that are broke. But the last 15 are so that you can get permanency because if you get there and you stop, you haven't been there long enough for it to get fixed. I always tell people that it's 40 sessions. I'm not trying to get your money. I'm trying to get you fixed.
Yeah.
And they'll say, I got in here for A, and in that 40 sessions, I realized that B, C, D, and E is fixed. And they didn't even know that that was an issue when they first came, but they noticed that when it got fixed, they were, wow, it's doing other things. You're not just getting in there for your head, your whole body's taking all that oxygen in. So it's pretty neat stuff. And I'm glad you guys are here to share with our veteran community
Yeah.
what it's about.
Well, and for the veterans, I mean, I think from what I understand, it's completely unutilized or underutilized. As you know, it's utilized, but not as much as it should be. And if a veteran can get as much change and as much benefit out of it as Brad has, which has been a life changing, very visible to me, and I spent a lot of time around Brad, so I know the changes that he's gone through just from just from the chamber, just from the barometric or just from the chamber. He's gone through some other stuff that has helped him also. But like I said, that's for another podcast. But this has really changed him, and that's why he's here advocating so strongly for other veterans to get in here and do it. Why not? Again, why not come in, try it? It's not going to cost you anything other than a little bit of your time for that first time. And if it does something, that's great. If it doesn't,
So let's kind of, I don't know where we're at on our time. So
10
we're
minutes.
at 122nd in May in Oklahoma City. Hyperbaric Plus. We are Hyperbarics for Heroes is our 501c3. And if you get online on either of those, you'll find your path to Hyperbaric Plus. What I want is either on our contact or a phone call. Our number is 938-1476. And if you'll give us a call and say, hey, I'm a veteran and I understand I can get in that chamber and see what it's all about, we will send you a link so that you can get a free session and you can fill out the paperwork. You can do it all on your phone or on your computer. And when you show up, you're ready to roll.
Was that 405?
Yeah, that's 405-938-1476. And it's hyperbaric.plus, Plus. Did you know
I did.
that's a new extension? So that's also our name, but it's hyperbaric.plus is our website, and hyperbaricsforheroes.org is the hyperbaric website, hyperbaric for hero website. And if you know anybody that's in trouble that needs that has the ability to come 40 days in a row, have 4:00 in the afternoon, that's
Include
who our
Sundays, it's
programs.
every day for 4
Well,
days?
that's Monday through Friday,
Okay.
and that's who our Hyperbaric for Hero program serves. And it is 40 sessions, and great things happen when you can get those 40 sessions in.
That's true.
So there's an application on that website you can fill out. And if you know anybody that's in trouble, get that application to them and get them to call me. I'd love to talk to them.
And I appreciate it, Paul, too. I know people like
I
yourself.
did not. Everybody goes, so you're a veteran? I go, no, I
That's what I'm
didn't.
saying.
I didn't serve. And I guess at some level I felt guilty for not serving. And so when we started doing this, Greg used to ride in the Patriot Guard.
Right.
And I used to go down and help at the clinic doing hyperbarics. And I just saw all these things happen.
Right.
And I said, man, I want to be part of this, not just in the veteran community, but the public doesn't know anything about it. And doing 8 people a day running full bore hyperbarics when we have
Right.
monoplace chambers, like how am I going to serve the public doing 8 dives a day? And if those people are doing 40 sessions, that's a long time to do any good for somebody. And we got this chamber out here. I have the capacity to do 84 people a day.
Hmm.
Bring it on.
We're
I mean,
grateful. Very grateful.
I mean, bring it on. Let's get it going. Thank you a million for being here. And I didn't thank you for your service when you walked in here, but both of you, thank you for your service and my freedom. And I don't have anything else to talk about. If you got a parting shot, give it.
Yeah, no, I just want to say thank you, Paul and Sharon, for putting that together and doing what you do. And again, all the people that haven't served but do support us, when people say thanks for your service, I always try to at least get out thanks Thank you for your support because, again, if you don't like what you're fighting for and behind you, you're not going to fight what's in front of you.
Mhm.
And so I really believe that as I started to get better and finding things that were worth fighting for. And it's people like yourself that go out of your way to lend a hand and to help those that are in need. So that goes. I know that people probably don't say that enough, but I want to make sure you understand what it means to
Brad's been
us.
a great supporter here for us, and he's brought a lot of people to us that benefit. And I can't tell you how much your friendship means to me as well. And I'm meeting so many cool people out of the military. I mean, it's just really an honor to be able to get in there. And it's mostly veterans that are in that 4 o'clock. I don't even get in unless I don't have a veteran to run it. So it's all veterans when that thing's going at 4 o'clock. I encourage people to get down there and check it out.
Well, and especially the veterans. I was just going to say that there's a lot of veterans out there that are suffering. A lot of them are suffering publicly or with a friend or with a buddy, but many of them are suffering secretly and they're suffering inside and very quietly. And those are the ones that we really want to reach out to. And if you know somebody who's going through something, grab them, bring them, give us a call. We'll go pick them up if we need to. I mean, I'll volunteer that.
All right, we'll do
I
that,
know
sir.
Brad will too. So yeah, just make sure you get those guys in here because every little bit helps them because they don't need to suffer anymore.
Thanks a million. Thank you for
Thank you,
being here
Paul.
Yeah,
today.
thank
This
you.
worked out great. So I'm Paul with Hyperbaric Plus and Hyperbarics for Heroes. Go check us out. We will see you on the next one.